Each tribe has an identity. Reuben means behold the sun, so it reveals to us we're sons and daughters of God. Simeon means to hear God, so therefore we hear God accurately, what Jesus said. Every tribe had an identity, then every tribe had an infirmity. And the church still has infirmity. For example, Reuben was unstable as water. And if you really want to know the truth about the tribes, you have to see the book of James in the light of Genesis 49. Most people don't know this, but the book of James was written out of Genesis 49. And that's easily proven. The first man he talks about in the book of James is a double-minded man, unstable in all his ways. And he says to Reuben, you're unstable as water. He's talking about Reuben there. See, James is a derivative and an equal to Jacob. One is Hebrew, one is Greek. James is equal to Jacob in the languages. So the book of James, and then when you get to Benjamin, Benjamin shall raven as a wolf. When you go to chapter 5, the chapter opens up and says, Benjamin shall raven as a wolf in Genesis 49. But in Genesis 49, on to James 5, you rich men howl like wolves. See, the wolves in the church were the rich men. And then when you go to the two men in the book of James, he said, if two men come in your assembly, the rich man and the poor man, the rich man is Jesus in the throne. The poor man is Jesus on the cross. That's a very powerful revelation. I'm not going to teach the book of James tonight, but it's incredible. So when two men come in the assembly, so every time we come together, we have to deal with two men. There's two sides to this, a death side and a life side. And the poorest man that's ever been on this planet was Jesus hanging on that cross. Because he had your poverty, he had my poverty, he had our poverty, everybody past, everybody future's poverty. So he was the poorest man. He was the sickest man that ever lived. He lived 6 hours in that condition. Sickest man that's ever lived. Weakest man that's ever lived. There's never been anybody on planet Earth for those 6 hours while he was hanging on the tree as poor as Jesus was. Cut off from God, separated, made sin, made a curse, made death, bore all of our sin, all of our curse. So thank God Jesus is the poor man. But you got to do something with the poor man. Remember the book of Ecclesiastes said, the wisdom of the poor man is not heard. See, a lot of people love King Jesus and rich Jesus and Jesus that meets all of our needs. But you know, that on the cross produced him in the throne. Without the cross, they'd never be able to ascend and we'd never have access to the throne. So the book of James opens up in chapter 2 and talks about what you receive, and you receive the rich man and the poor man. And what did they do? They took the rich man and put him up front, and they honored the rich man, and they didn't make the poor man leave. They put him in the back and said, stand thou here. And that's what we do with Jesus on the cross in most places. We bring him out once a year, Easter time, on Good Friday, what we call. We parade him around on the cross, then we put the poor man back in the corner, and we know he's there.